Good morning, Warriors. Back with another episode of Vigor Warriors 2 and the 1% Club. Hope you guys had a nice New Year's Day. I think we're actually celebrating it today as well. So hope you guys have a great day today, enjoying the new year, and Happy New Year again to everyone. Thank you guys for all the comments, subscriptions, likes. I didn't get a chance to do them yesterday, so I'll probably try to do them tonight and then kind of put a bunch of the shout outs in the descriptions, and also kind of mention people that we're going to talk about a little bit when they give us a good suggestion and idea. So a lot of good ideas are coming up for the next week or so. We are going to focus on one that I promised, and the Dallas Teague, I promised Dallas, a shout out to Dallas, that I was going to do one. So I'm going to do one. And we'll call this, not only, we'll talk about Michael Jackson a little bit, but we're also talking about musicians in general, and also energy levels and semen retention. So that's kind of the topic we're going to talk about. So the question is, do musicians, and we talked about this when I did the different ones on Tupac, and I think I did one on a couple of movie stars and things like that. People in the art world, artistic people, musicians, artists, things like that, do they have high levels of semen retention? Well, of course you could argue that the energy they're using is such that they're going to transmute that, whether they know it or not. They're going to transmute it into lots of energy. And so they have lots of energy. And so as they perform things, and especially we're talking about musicians now, they perform things, they're going to come on the stage and perform, and they get the high adrenaline moving and things like that. Now, when we talk about, this type of stuff, we have to always consider a lot of things. Now, Michael Jackson's case, certainly when you looked at him perform, he had a certain aura around him. There was no doubt that he had a certain presence that you had. And I guess when we talk about aura, that's kind of what I'm kind of referring to more. We talk about aura, we're really talking about presence that person has, a charisma that person has, and he certainly had that. Now, I understand there's some, there's indications out there that there was issues, when he was a child and things like that. So, we don't know whether or not he did that. He did semen retention directly. Now, I saw some interviews over the years and that he did that, and people have talked about that. But you do see the presence around him. So you do see that. So the result is whatever he was doing, he was high level. Now, not all musicians are like that. And so you have to kind of think to yourself, there's a difference between someone like Michael Jackson and other musicians who have a lot of energy, but they look like, they're 20 years older than they should be, right? And so a lot of that stuff goes into their lifestyle habits. So obviously, if they're involved musicians and they have their groupies I've seen over the years, way back in the 1960s and early 70s, and they had a lot of drugs and sex, a lot of those temptation things. It's easy to go ahead and release and lose your energy very quickly. And so it doesn't really matter who you're talking about. Now, you look at people like the Rolling Stones, who've been around for a long time. You can make arguments different ways. I mean, they have a huge amount of energy to be able to do this for many, many years. They've been doing this. I don't know if they're still singing. They might be, but there are groups. I know the Beach Boys are still singing. So when you see groups that do this and people that do this and they have huge amounts of energy, we don't know if they were on semen retention or not, but they're using their energy and transmuting it in ways that they're helping, provide entertainment and provide things for our society that people like. So in many regards, when you're talking about energy, those people are transmuting that energy and using it. Now, whether or not they do semen retention and they retain and they're using breathing methods, I don't know. I don't have any research on that. I know Michael Jackson kind of avoided the questions. I think Oprah asked him one time, if I remember right, about this, and he just didn't want to talk. It was a private type of thing, which it should be. We talk about it because it's becoming just an epidemic, in my viewpoint, of people releasing that. We've got to talk about it. So I try not to get as impersonal about the terminology as I can. But you guys kind of know what I'm talking about when I talk about celibacy and and retention, things like that. So I mean, and using energy. I don't try to, because I'm old fashioned. Like a lot of people old fashioned are. We don't talk about those things more in public. I mean, it took a lot of, and you could tell how the effect of semen retention has been on me for me to even talk about this in videos and put it on, out there for everybody. I mean, that's something I would never have done, 5, 6 years ago. So, but getting back to musicians, I think that there is a high level of musicians that have retention. And that's something to kind of look at their performances, because they're able to perform and continue performing over periods of time, and that's amazing. And when you see that, you see the energy level they have. Now, I also will combine this a little bit, which is something we may not have thought about, but this is something that was a thought that came to me when I was actually talking about the video we did on music and meditation the other day. And when you talk about music, the combination of music with the tones and the music you have, it resonates with a person who has retention. And why is that? Well, we're all made of energy. Remember that. So our body is made of energy. We're made of energy. The music that's being put out there is made of energy. And there's certain things you resonate with. And if you sing music that you resonate with, you're right there. You're going to get a high. This is almost like when you're sitting there and you go, and you keep going it, all of a sudden your feet start tingling, and I get a tingle. And those type of things go through your body. So music can have a huge effect. And so can you just imagine a person who's sitting up there and, I've seen people, over time, people who've sang in the 60s are still singing now. Ides of March, the guy with Ides of March, I can't remember his name, but he's another one that just got phenomenal energy. And the guy's got to be, they got to be in their 70s, 70s, maybe even 80s. Who knows, some of these guys. So for them to keep going like that and keep doing it, they have a huge amount of energy that is transmuted. Now, do they practice it? Do they even know what retention is? Some people still think it's kind of stupid. That's the 99%. And some people don't even understand it. I mean, they understand celibacy, but a lot of people still think it's old-fashioned. Now, we know in our 1% how valuable this is and how crucial this is for people to succeed and be real men. But it's not, once again, you're living in a matrix right now. We're living in a blue matrix where people are living in a whole different world, because this is how the world's been portrayed over the last 100 years at least, of not doing these type of things. And it's great to go out and release and have all kinds of fun and that kind of stuff. So the musicians, they played into this type of idea, obviously, because let's look at a regular rock thing. If you look at back in the 1950s, especially Elvis Presley, all these people that came out, the amount of energy they had, right, attracted people. And this is why when you had the people come in the rock shows and the concerts and things like that, they would just go crazy. And you had all these groupie people following all these people, and you still got that today. Whether it's Bon Jovi in the 80s, whether it's new people, and I'm not as up to date with the new people, but you're talking about a lot of people who have a lot of energy. So it doesn't surprise you. It shouldn't surprise you of why people are so attracted to rock bands and rock stars and all this type of stuff. Whether it's Van Halen or back in the old days, Zeppelin, all these people, Mick Jagger, because they have a number of things going on here. You have a high level of energy that they have. Some of that's being motivated by the music they're playing, and the music resonates high levels of energy. And all of a sudden you're attracting those people who may not have energy, all of a sudden feel it. This is why even any kind of crowd you get, and this could be a football game, this could be a rock concert, it could be anything. All of a sudden you have high levels of energy. If you put all this energy together, you could have a nuclear bomb, in my opinion, because of the high level energy. And if you've been into rock concerts or you've been to football games, like some of these games of 102,000 people, and soccer games are the same way, international football games, those games are the same way. Those things are crazy because the people have so much energy invested into it. Now add the music into it, and add the people who have high level frequencies because they're at a high level just to get into this thing, then they have tremendous ability to attract people. So yes, people like Michael Jackson, obviously they were practicing some semen retention. I'm not sure if they knew it or how they did it or when they did it, but some of these musicians are doing that because you can see it in results that they have. You can see the aura. Michael Jackson, when you watch him, when you watch his videos, he looks like he has a high level of energy that resonates, and people become attracted to that. Now, what they do with it, right? That's a different story. Some of the people, they get involved in in Nirvana. Some of these people get involved in drugs and all kinds of other stuff like that. And who knows? Guns N' Roses. You look at a lot of these people over the years, and some lasted, some haven't. But you can destroy yourself as well, no matter if you're in retention or not. Just because you're in retention doesn't mean you're not gonna, you still have to use those other behaviors. You have to have self-control. And it is very difficult, probably for a musician, especially with all the girls hanging around, is to be able to have self-control. But the bottom line question, because I want to end this one, is the bottom line question is that and Michael Jackson and the musicians have and practicing retention? And I would say, of course they did, because obviously you look at the energy level. Now, do they know they were practicing it? Do they know it as celibacy, whatever it might be? Did they know they were transmuting it? That I don't know. They probably didn't know those type of terms. But they practiced it because you can see that in the aura and the results that those guys do when they go out there all the time. All right, guys, enough for today. We'll try to do a next one on how to start again. Admiral Islam and Shahab Sharon, they asked me about this, why it's so difficult, so we're going to go into that one, probably do sometime tonight if we can. All right, guys, until next time, have a great day today on Monday. Enjoy the second New Year's Day celebration today. Have a great day, and remember, every day is a new day to a wise warrior. God bless you guys. Battle on!